We are the anchors of Queer News Tonight, and this evening we discuss the queer headlines. Mayor Dean Trantillis' partner, Daniel Curran, is arrested for assault. Curran faces felony battery and restraining order violation charges.
Donald Trump faces backlash after confusing mortgage terms during an interview, exposing his lack of basic financial knowledge and public disconnect.
LGBTQ Democrats condemn 7 senators for backing a government deal without health subsidies, calling it a betrayal that raises healthcare costs.
Human Rights Campaign ends sponsorships with Northrop Grumman, and RTX after activists demand divestment from arms makers supporting Israel's war.
Grindr and Together Take Me Home distributed 1 million HIV self-test kits, expanding access, reducing stigma, and empowering first-time testers. All this important LGBTQ plus news and more this evening on Queer News Tonight. Welcome to Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only LGBTQ plus daily news television show, broadcasting live and available on demand on your favorite streaming channels.
Analytics company vidIQ has certified the Queer News Tonight YouTube channel as the world's most popular LGBTQ streaming news show. Our queer stories have reached over 11 million views.
We thank you for watching and supporting our voice in our rainbow family.
We are proud that Queer News Tonight has more YouTube subscribers than any other LGBTQ brand in Florida. There is no other news program in the LGBTQ world like Queer News Tonight.
It is Wednesday, November 12th. We are live and literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we'll tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
You're watching Queer News Tonight, the world's first daily LGBTQ evening news show.
Welcome to the world's most important LGBTQ plus evening news show. Hotspots Magazine Happening Out Television Network is a nonprofit 501c3 media company in the same model as PBS and NPR, but created for the LGBTQ plus community.
Our nonprofit mission is to support the 11 pillars of our community. We want to inform and educate the key issues of lesbian, trans, Latino, Black, healthcare, seniors, students, faith, social justice, business, and queer culture. Help us support our diverse community.
We are part of one of the largest LGBTQ nonprofit media companies in America, Hotspots Magazine and Happening Out Television Network.
In 2025, our magazine is celebrating 40 years of the LGBTQ experience, and Queer News Tonight is celebrating our 5th anniversary with more than 11,000 LGBTQ plus television stories. We present South Florida's major LGBTQ plus events, including Pride Fort Lauderdale, Stonewall Pride, and Pride Fest. And our magazine, events, television news, talk, and entertainment shows support our mission to educate the LGBTQ and broader communities.
In 2025, more than 100 community leaders will sit at this very table and share their voice as our anchors. Together, we host this show to support the LGBTQ plus community. Let's meet this evening's anchors at Queer News Tonight. Let's welcome to the table for the first time anchor Julian Alterman. Julian Alterman serves as the client service manager at Broward House in Wilton Manors, where he leads a passionate and dedicated outreach team. Under his guidance, the team works tirelessly to educate individuals across Broward County about HIV, promote awareness, and provide free testing services for HIV and STIs. Julian's commitment to community health and empowerment is reflected in his proactive approach to outreach, ensuring that vital resources and information reach those who need them the most. Julian, so Broward House is going to host World AIDS Day Candlelight Walk on December 1st. Tell me what's happening out.
Thank you, Faye. Well, on December 1st, we're going to host the annual World AIDS Day Candlelight Walk at Esplanade Park in Fort Lauderdale. It's being moved down to Esplanade Park for the first time this year. Celebration will start at 5:30 with a gathering and check-in, followed by welcoming remarks and a guest performances at 6 p.m. Participants will then join in a 1-mile candlelight walk at 6:20, symbolizing remembrance, unity, and hope for those affected by HIV and AIDS. After the walk, there's going to be food trucks and interactive stations and live entertainment until 8 p.m. Organized by Broward House, South Florida's oldest and largest HIV service organization, this gathering will embody compassion and solidarity. For more details, visit browardhouse.org. The food trucks, and we hope more people will hang out and socialize and just bring more awareness, which is why we've moved it down to Esplanade Park.
Is that considered downtown Fort Lauderdale? What is that considered, right?
Yes,
Just
downtown, around the Riverwalk.
Yeah. No, I love that. And now this year, December 1st is a Monday, right? So people can get out of work and then head on over there and have dinner with you guys at the food truck after the vigil walk.
Exactly. We're going to be down there from about noon with our testing van, offering testing to anybody who's in the area. So we're going to bring awareness that way too.
And it's so important. I mean, like, you guys don't, we don't have to, we know that, like, Miami is #1 in the country for new infections,
and it's been for years.
And it's been for years. We're #1. It's not a good #1.
Well, Broward House is right behind it, #2. And we want to bring the awareness that, HIV isn't what it was 20 and even 30 years ago. And, the community, the population at large doesn't realize that. And that's why we go out into the community and do more outreach into new areas, staying away from the typical areas and bring the message and education out.
You guys are killing it. That is, like, it's just so much gratitude for Broward House, who's a lifeline for so many folks.
Yep.
It's a space, it's a important community space, providing services, but also just gratitude for you all. Thank you for the great work you guys do.
No, and it's a good day to remember those of us that have, friends that are no longer here, or people that have been dealing with this disease for many, many years. I work in HIV for many years, so I know many patients of mine that were, no longer here, or, they're still fighting the fight, and we're fighting with them. And this is a good day to get together and, and remember.
Well, and remember that, cuts are happening everywhere, right? We know that, and the reality is that, like, a lot of these organizations that are doing the fights, right, are losing funding to do this fighting, right? I can't imagine being in the 80s, right, and hanging out. I only hang out with gay boys, right? So I can't imagine hanging out with all my gay boys and then not seeing them in the next couple of days, and then disappearing, and then going to 100 funerals, I mean, and that was the life that people had to live in the 80s, Now, if you're diagnosed, you live and you thrive.
Oh, you definitely do.
For years and years. It's not a death sentence anymore, and people need to know that.
Not at all. And, talking about the funding, there is the Joyride is coming up also next week, which I think you mentioned last night or night before on this, but I'm riding for the first time. Broward House has a large team, and we're riding 2 days, 165 miles. So that's going to help, hopefully, bring in funds that, have been cut drastically by the government.
And are so desperately needed.
Desperately needed, so we can provide the care and support that
we're one last thing I'll tell our viewers is that, women can be on PrEP and PEP as well, okay? And that's something that, like, people don't know, and it's mind-boggling that we don't know this, right? I mean, let's spread the word, right? If Black and brown women are the most infected, they've got to get educated as well. And folks need to be educated as well. So thank you for everything that Broward House does. Folks at home, it's World AIDS Day, December 1st, right? You should be at an event. If you're not at the Broward House event, find an event, okay? Because it is 2025, and we want this eradicated, right? We would love to see that in our lifetime, right?
Most definitely.
Right. Well, Queer News Tonight looks forward to seeing you at the Broward House World AIDS Day Candlelight Walk on December 1st.
Let's welcome back to the table my friend in that amazing sweater, Boppy, Trinidaddy. Yes, he is a violinist and pianist with the Miami City Ballet, and is the program director for the Seminole Theater Players in Homestead. Welcome back to the show, Trini. Where you been? What's going on?
It's been a busy summer. I was doing musicals.
Did you get some work done? You look amazing. Oh, you look amazing. Look at that.
I'm actually about to try that Morpheus 8 next week. So, but thank you. I appreciate it.
What is that? Is that snake venom or something? What is that?
No, it's that radio frequency thing that you put on your face. It's skin tightening, all that stuff.
Ooh.
I'll report back on that. That'll be my event that I report next week. But yes, as Faye says, this was a little piece that I got at the thrift store for like $10.
Work.
And I want to tell everybody out there, fashionable men, like, go to the women's section. Like, even at Target, I went the other day and I'm like, wow, this is like, some nice stuff that they have over there. So.
Right, but that's a great idea. I mean, again, nobody looks at the tag. Nobody knows that it's women's. And who cares, right? If somebody goes, wow, it's a great top, I got it at the women's section at Target. Like, I mean, come on.
Exactly.
That's a way to stump somebody, you know?
My style icon is Lenny Kravitz. So I love everything that he has. And this was like a little homage to him. So, yeah, get into.
That's an amazing
women's
style
clothing.
mentor right
Yeah,
there, right?
that's a good
Is Lenny
style.
Kravitz. I mean, the ageless and super hot no matter what, man.
Yeah, you see the resemblance.
Oh, it's uncanny.
Yeah.
It's uncanny, Gaga. It's uncanny. Well, Trinidad, thank you so much for being back at the table of Queer News Tonight. Let's welcome back to the table my favorite Venezuelan in the whole entire world, Dino Mosquera. He joined the Miami Gay and Lesbian Film Festival in the late 90s and now serves on the Outshine Film Festival's board of directors. Welcome back to the show, D. What's going on, Papi?
Yes, Mama, thank you. Well, we are still, after the glow of the festival, we still have one film actually that we're showing. We couldn't show, it was the centerpiece of our festival, and we couldn't show it for some technical issue.
Okay.
We're showing it tonight at the in Miami, at the Cubic Center. It's called The Captive. It's from Spain. Alejandro Amenabar is the director, fantastic director, a great film. Was the centerpiece for our festival, and it will be here tomorrow in Fort Lauderdale at the Paradigm Cinema. Or also
Formerly known
as the Gateway at 7 p.m. And so it's going to be shown in both counties. So come and check it out. It's a great film, and we appreciate the support of all the community for our film festival. So
Listen, every movie that you put out with Outshine is impeccable. Every single one. I have not seen a bad movie, and I hate everything, right? And like seriously. So the fact that you're allowing us to see this movie when we weren't able to see it during the film festival, I say thank you. And the fact that you're going to the Paradigm that they just renovated, that lobby looks amazing. You got to check it out. Old Gateway carpet, gone. Gone. So it's so perfect for you to have the debut of The Captive there. It's going to be a fun time. So tomorrow, 7 p.m.
7 p.m.
7 p.m. at the Paradigm Theater, formerly known as the Gateway.
Correct.
All right. Well, thank you, Dino Mosquera, for being at the table of Queer News Tonight. Let's welcome back to the table anchor Julio Capo Jr., a board member of the Stonewall National Museum Archives and Library. He's a history professor at Florida International University and the author of the book Welcome to Fairyland, Queer Miami Before 1940. Welcome back to the show, Julio. So
Hey.
you know, kid, that you gave me the scare of a lifetime, all right? That Hurricane Melissa almost took you and Patrick away.
Oh my goodness,
So
yeah.
can you please tell our viewers a little bit about that? So I will say that you were with Patrick, your gorgeous, gorgeous boo, who I adore, and his family, and you were all celebrating Patrick's mom's 70th birthday.
70th birthday.
In the incredible Jamaican,
in
splendor
Montego
that there
Bay.
is. All of a sudden, this little hurricane came and became a big-ass hurricane, and you were stuck there. No flights out, having to bunker down at the hotel ballroom. What
Yeah, it was a lot.
happened?
It was. I have to say, so it was a really, it was a challenging time, obviously for so many folks. But we were there with 50 members, almost 50 members of his family, of his extended family, who were there celebrating his mom's 70th birthday.
And
She's had
nobody
this-
checked the radar before you
No,
left? I mean,
so
like-
it's more complicated than that, right? Like you couldn't get out, and they closed the airports, 3 days before the hurricane hit. So we always had planned on leaving, days before. But one of those things that happens, like when you make the most of difficult situations, is I got to know more about Patrick as when he was a kid, back living in Guyana, and from people extended family. So it was this really beautiful moment of sharing a space that you wouldn't have otherwise had together. And I just have to say, right, despite all that, we were also incredibly privileged to be in a really safe space, knowing that it wasn't so safe for so many other people, so many people who live on the island of Jamaica, and how difficult it was for them. So that is, it was also just the sense of like being there, knowing that you were taking up space in one time when people were going through so much. So there was just an eagerness to not be in the way, so to speak,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
But also
still affected because again, there's 50 of you there.
yeah, and
visiting, huh?
all visiting. So everyone was coming from somewhere else. Some folks came from Guyana. Some folks came from Jersey. We came
Wow.
from here in Florida.
But
So
you made it through.
We
and
made
you got
it
out.
through, and
now you have this bond, though. I mean, think about it. You made
yeah.
it through Hurricane Melissa.
Patrick and I are grateful to have each other and have to be there surrounded by our families, which was
love
really
that.
beautiful.
50 West Indian sounds like a party.
Right.
Original Trinidad, Guyana, we got that connection
Patrick's
going
originally
on.
from Trinidad. He was born
What?
in Trinidad.
You didn't tell me
They
that?
didn't invite
he
you.
was
They didn't
born
invite
there.
you.
He was born. He's Guyanese, but he was born in Trinidad.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, we have like all these kind of. But so folks came from all over the place. But we, Anyway,
You made it through.
We did,
That's
and
all that
it
matters.
was a
and it was a bonding moment.
No
and you're
doubt.
also, in deep gratitude. I read a lot
sure.
of your posts, and you were just actively trying to see if you could help others while you're
very sweet.
stuck there.
Thank
Oh
you,
my
thank
God!
you.
So you're an incredible soul. We're happy that you
Likewise.
made it through,
Thank you, Mama.
and that
Thank
you
you.
didn't get blown away with your little ass.
And check out for folks who. Hey, my ass ain't that little. But check out all these. There's really lots of great places to support the relief funds. For Jamaica, lots of places that you can
Yes.
help. Jamaica, Haiti, Cuba. This hurricane really hit a lot of places, and the opportunity to give back. Check
there.
your local places,
For
especially.
sure.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Julio. Thank
Thank
you
you.
for being back at the table.
Thank
at
you
Queer
for
News
having
Tonight.
me.
And of course, let's welcome tonight's lead anchor, Faye What? She is a legendary events host, television and radio personality, and the host of Hotspots Happening Out's The Faye What Show. Faye, standing on ceremony, the gay marriage plays come to the Foundry from November 13th to 20th. Tell me, what's happening out?
Yes, Trini, thank you, baby. So from November 13th through November 20th, Plays of Wilton will present Standing on Ceremony, the gay marriage plays at the Foundry. This collection of short plays will bring together an acclaimed lineup of writers. The production will explore the humor, heart, and humanity behind marriage equality through stories that unfold before, during, and after the words, I do. Each play will stand as a vow to equality and the shared experiences that unite couples everywhere. With multiple showtimes across the week, Standing on Ceremony will promise an unforgettable evening of theater that honors the joy, challenges, and enduring power of love. And let me tell you that it's sold out, okay? It was sold out last weekend. It's sold out this coming weekend that I wanted to try to get tickets to. I was trying to get tickets to, and it was sold out, okay? So I'm going to try to go next weekend. But I've been super worried and scared that our marriage rights are going to be taken away, right? I mean, it's at the forefront of all gay people's, thoughts. And so when I saw that Ronnie Larson and the Foundry was going to do these plays, I'm like, everybody's going to go watch this because it's so relatable. You don't have to be married to go want to see a play about folks going through the turmoils before, during, and after saying I do. For me personally, I didn't want to get married until I found out I couldn't. You know what I mean? And then I was like, wait a minute, that should be for me too, right?
Romantic.
So,
So let's get
Teresa, you just got the most romantic person on earth.
Be still my heart.
Well, let me just also say that,
Teresa.
at the end of the day, the lucky one is my wife, Teresa. I mean, let's be real. But I wanted to say, Ronnie Larson is incredible. He always comes up with these great dynamic ways to represent our community in a lot of different ways. And this is just
Moises Kaufman. I'll go see anything he writes.
Oh,
So,
really?
yeah,
Is that it? Is he
Yeah.
is he amazing?
He's amazing. He's Venezuelan on top of
Yeah.
that. So,
Okay,
yeah, so I follow him for many, many years.
Nice.
So even from back home, so I remember his place back there. So I follow him. So I will go see. I'll try to
Right?
see. Yeah.
Well,
Check that
and
out.
and they're also having people from the community do like special cameos, right? So our own Eric Restivo, who sits at this table all the
Yes,
time,
love
is
him.
one of the folks doing it. Andy Kaufman, I think, is the other one. So they are picking people from our community to be in the plays, and I love that. That's always a lot of fun as well.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
get your tickets today. See you there.
Well, Queer News Tonight looks forward to seeing you at Standing on Ceremony, the gay marriage plays from November 13th to the 20th.
I'm Faye Watt, and let's queer up South Florida and Florida. Fort Lauderdale's mayor's partner arrested for alleged assault. The live-in partner of Fort Lauderdale's mayor, Dean Trentellis, was arrested on Tuesday, accused of physically assaulting the mayor and dragging him across the road last week. Police says 34-year-old Daniel Curran faces charges of battery on a person 65 or older, a felony, and violating an injunction for protection against domestic violence. Curran had lived with the 72-year-old mayor since March 2025. In September, Trentellis obtained a restraining order against Curran after alleged violent threats. Despite that order, the mayor later allowed him back, hoping Curran would seek counseling and attempt to better himself. The affidavit says the latest attack happened Saturday when Curran pushed and dragged Trentellis about 15 feet, injuring his wrist, leg, and knee. Curran also allegedly took the mayor's keys. Trentellis testified Friday saying, quote, "I thought maybe there was some way to rehabilitate Danny, and I failed at that. He threw me to the ground," end quote.
Curran's attorney called the incident self-inflicted. A judge has set bond at $6,000 and ordered no contact with the mayor. An emergency court hearing for a permanent restraining order is scheduled later this week. The incident draws attention to relationship abuse that can affect LGBTQ plus couples. You know, this story is not easy. I consider Dean Trantelis a colleague and someone who has led Fort Lauderdale in such an incredible way. I work in Fort Lauderdale. I spend my money in Fort Lauderdale. Fort Lauderdale is ingrained in my everyday. And yes, the mayor is the mayor first, okay? And he does that job splendidly. But just like any of us in any kind of relationships, that things happen. You know, there are three sides to the story, and we don't know exactly what happened behind closed doors. I don't think that domestic assault is right or correct. It's a very sad state of affairs. I have been, let's just say that LGBTQ plus people, we love passionately and we love really hard. And unfortunately, there's a line that gets blurred sometimes, and he stepped over it, and he shouldn't have. And you know, it's a hard story to talk about just because of how I feel about Dean, right? And I've heard the horrible things that people have put online because people are horrible, you know, and I doubt that it's something that's going to be finished or taken care of tomorrow, you know. Toxic relationships, I don't know anybody who hasn't been in one, you know, and unfortunately you make some choices that affect your livelihood. You know, this story could be way worse. And unfortunately, I mean, we're telling it because this made national news. Okay. It was in the New York Post. All right. That Fort Lauderdale's mayor was assaulted by his partner. Yeah. You know, it's not a good look for us. It doesn't look good. It doesn't feel good. I don't like to read the story. But it's the news, and that's why we're telling it.
You know, I couldn't agree more, Faye. And I greatly admire and respect Dean so much. I think he's done a lot for our community, and he continues to do that. But I also like to take it a slightly different way. One of the things that I think we have an opportunity with this story, we wish both of them all the best. This is obviously incredibly difficult. But this story also highlights in what other place might mayor's love life who's openly gay make news, and that is like to also see about what it means for him to live his authentic life. And here, unfortunately, that this was a different take on that, right? But it also shows that he's always authentically himself, and the fact that, you know, he's not living a closeted life or something. No, exactly. He's very openly who he is, and I want to highlight that too, and also just the kind of the difficulties of it. It's an opportunity to shine light on the difficult aspects of gay relationships and all relationships, right? It's domestic violence, it's intergenerational relationships. Yeah. These are sometimes people think of these only in straight, you know, in straight couples, or to also say these are some of the challenges we have within our own community that we really need to talk about and find space for. So
I just wish the media will not treat it with double standards, you know, because we see a lot of that. Because these are gay folks, you know, but this happens between heterosexual couples
all the time.
All the time,
right?
They don't even make it to the media. You never even find out, or you know, and it goes on for years. And but no, because you know, this is where the gays go to Fort Lauderdale, you know, and this unfortunately makes it national scandal, and it feeds that storyline that we don't want, that narrative that, you know, we are not fit for stable relationships and partnership, and that's what I don't like about this. That is the double standard.
Yeah, no, I agree, and probably many people, like I was trolling, right? The comments and stuff like that on Facebook that people were writing when another local news outlet posted the story, and like you said, those comments would not be there if it was a straight couple, right? If it was, it just wouldn't be, you know, talking horrible things about the age gap, and you know that they call like our community is all toxic all the time, and that's not the case, you know. Trini?
Well, I mean it's obviously an awful thing to happen. I mean, in public or in private. I grew up in domestic abuse, you know, and it's scarred me my whole life. I am also considering running for public office. So I was just talking with somebody, not too long ago, and I think consciously about who I'm around, what I'm doing, and who I'm dating, because I do think something like this can come back and bite you in the ass, And I think I don't know if it's necessarily a double standard of having this level. I do think that this is kind of a little bit on the unique side for sitting officers in whatever position. So it's awful, and I think that it shouldn't be a scar to him on his record of what he's doing in the community, because it can happen to anybody, and it does happen to everybody, and probably the stories that you didn't hear is because they had a really great PR team that was covering it up. So consider who you are dating, what you're trying to do with your life, and move forward with it. And I wish the best for both of them.
Well said. If anything, it shows the humanity of all of us, right? That is how this can happen to anyone, right?
Anyone, and that he's brave enough, to say, listen, this happened to me. I'm a man of a certain age, right? Because that also has to, you have to be so macho when you're just being a man, period, right? But being a man of a certain age and being the mayor of this incredible city, that couldn't be easy to face those kind of facts, right?
Well said.
And that scrutiny. So,
we wish them.
more will come out of this, and I hope that Danny gets some help. How about that?
I'm Trinidadian. Let's queer up politics. Trump mocked as dumbest person alive after mortgage blunder on Fox News. President Donald Trump is facing intense backlash after displaying a startling lack of basic financial knowledge, this time about how mortgages work. During a Fox News interview with Laura Ingraham, Trump brushed off criticism of a proposed 50-year mortgage, saying, quote, "It's not even a big deal. You go from 40 years to 50. Ingraham quickly corrected him, saying 30. Standard home loans in the U.S. last 30 years, not 40. Extending them to 50 would dramatically increase total interest payments.
Housing costs are still out of reach, and another thing that your administration is trying to tackle. Many Americans, the average age of first-time home buyers are now up to age 40, which is sad. The country you and I grew up in.
But I inherited that. Look, you have to understand.
Right, but let me get to the question, though, because your housing director has proposed something that has enraged your MAGA friends, which is this 50-year mortgage idea. So a significant MAGA backlash, calling it a giveaway to the banks and simply prolonging the time it would take for Americans to own a home outright. Is that really a good idea?
It's not even a big deal. I mean, you go from 40 to 50 years, and what it means is you pay something less. From 30, that some people had a 40, and then now they have a 50. All it means is you pay less per month. You pay it over a longer period of time. It's not like a big factor. It might help a little bit. But the problem was that Biden did this. He increased the interest rates, and I have a lousy Fed person who's going to be gone in a few months.
Financial analysts say such a move would saddle homeowners with decades more debt. Social media erupted with ridicule. One post read, quote, "More proof of how stupid Trump is. Dumbest person alive." Another user wrote, "He never pays any of his bills, so of course it's not a big deal to him." Others mocked his long record of being out of touch, referencing his past comments about needing an ID to buy groceries. Critics say Trump's ignorance about mortgages, something most Americans deal with, highlights how disconnected he is from ordinary life. Okay, I was watching this when it came out, and I was thinking, how moronic could this guy get? Like, he's had 10 years to come up with health care, right? And I'm sure because of the stunning loss in the election last week, everybody's been pressuring him. You got to come up with a health plan. You got to come up with a health plan. This sounds like something he scrawled on the back of a cocktail napkin. It's like, well, 50-year mortgages. Let's tell everybody that's the best idea,
This is coming from...
Well, so then the first thing I did was look up what the average mortality rate was for a dude, right? So a guy was something like 74, 75, something like that. And I'm like, all right, so if you get a mortgage at 25, let's say you're lucky enough to buy a home at 25, right?
No one is.
Right? It's like, all right, well, just as you die, you'll be able to pay off your home, right? And if some reason you are able to get that 50-year mortgage when you're 30, 35, 40 years old, think about when you're passing down as inheritance to your kids, that after you've taken care of your parents, after they've probably gone through whatever savings they've had, now you inherit their house that still has 20 more years of payments on it. I mean, it's just economically disastrous for people to never, be able to be free of this debt. So, I mean, it's a horrible idea. And his MAGA crowd knows it too. Yeah. Everybody, I really do feel like the crumbling is starting to happen for the first time, even though we've been saying it for years, maybe this time. But I do think that something about when he talks about also the prices of everything was going down in that same interview. Man, I put down my short ribs the other day. It was like $20 when it used to be like $12. I was like, I'm going to eat chicken tonight.
I'm going to eat chicken tonight. Listen, I was happy that this happened on Fox, though. You know what I mean? Just because, with all the misinformation that they're always spewing, I'm glad that it happened on their network. 1, 2, and when in doubt, blame Biden, right? That's like the rule book, no matter what. When in doubt, blame Biden. If the president thinks that a 50-year-old mortgage is no big deal, that's like paying for your car until your great-grandkids inherit it, basically, right? So the average American can barely afford a starter home, and this man doesn't even know how a long mortgage even lasts. So that's not leadership. That's monopoly, okay? That's what it is. And it's scary because this is our president. He's trying to make America great again. And what he's doing is just giving people more debt. I mean, how many of his companies went under? How many times did he file bankruptcy on many companies?
This is dumb, from dumb to dumber. Seriously, this is the guy that told us back in the day that you could clear COVID with bleach.
That's right.
In your
inject bleach into
inject bleach.
And people did.
Okay, so this is the guy that went on national television in the middle of a crisis, a health crisis, a world crisis, to tell us that we should inject bleach in our veins. So now what surprises me even more, because I know he's already dumb, is that he's been, praised for being the deal maker and the money man and building a fortune and, owning the New York City. How come he doesn't know the base? He's a real estate mogul, isn't he? How can you not know this basic concept of a mortgage? It's ridiculous.
He made a great deal with Argentina.
Yeah.
When Fox News is fact-checking you, it's like, I mean, really, like, that's like, to me.
She said, stop, let me ask the question.
Yeah, and she was like, also 30.
Can I finish, please?
It's kind of, I mean, something's up. And then the other thing, right, is just to imagine, like, dumb or whatever, like, all those things, of course, like, we can repeat all example after example, but out of touch is the part that really gets to me. Because this is, if someone were to, like, in this hypothetical case, in 25, buy a home, which is almost impossible, like, in what median salaries are and with student loans, and it's just, that's not the 1950s that, like, second generations, third generations were promised. It's impossible. And with that being said, right, the only way someone could potentially do that in his hypothetical space is of generational wealth. That's how he did it, right? Like,
and that's what he was going to.
And that's what he's going to.
He was going towards, like, if they inherit it. I'm like,
right.
What?
Like, this is the part that just boggles my mind, is that what he's talking about is like, no, isn't everyone really rich? Like, and the answer is like, no. Like, and to, one thing is to reap the benefits of generational wealth, and to acknowledge that you reap the generational wealth and those privileges. And another is to just say, like, but everyone should catch up. Like, and that's the part that's just so vulgar, is that that's just not the reality for Americans, right? And then to kind of make policy or to propose policy. My goodness.
Julio, they are saying that college graduates, right, after graduating college, they're staying home for another 7 years. That means a 32-year-old is still at home with their parents because they can't afford to go live out on their own.
And it's not also the math of it. I mean, if you're
the math isn't mathing.
Mortgage the first 20 years, you're like not even really making a dent in the principal.
The math doesn't math.
It's crazy.
The math doesn't math. But that's just just problematic.
That's his reality.
It's his reality.
I'm Dino Mosquera, and let's queer up politics. Unconditional surrender. LGBTQ plus Democrats blast party members for backing GOP shutdown deal. In a fiery backlash, LGBTQ plus Democrats are condemning 7 Senate Democrats who joined Republicans to reopen the government without extending key Affordable Care Act subsidies. Many call it a betrayal of working families, warning that it will raise healthcare premiums by thousands of dollars. Representative Robert Garcia called it a surrender and vowed to be, quote, a hell no in the House. Representative Richie Torres labeled the move, quote, an unconditional surrender that abandons 24 million Americans, end of quote. Senator Tammy Baldwin fought to save the subsidies until the last minute, saying Republicans, quote, send a clear, unmistakable message that they are okay with jacking up healthcare costs, end of quote. Out leaders across the country echo the outrage. Pete Buttigieg called it a bad deal. Governor Maura Haley decried a total dysfunction down in Washington. From California's Scott Wiener to Pennsylvania's Malcolm Kenyatta, LGBTQ plus Democrats urged resistance. Kenyatta said, quote, giving in for a pinky promise from Republicans makes no sense. And I'm completely in agreement with Mr. Kenyatta. This is ridiculous. Is an insult. It's a slap in the face of the working class.
Yes.
That not only had to put up with, you know, the petulance of the Republicans in this moment, while the president of the country is throwing a fabulous house party at Mar-a-Lago, and people were
building a ballroom.
And building a $300 million ballroom at the White House. They didn't get a paycheck for almost 50 days.
Yeah.
And they put up with
because of the Republican shutdown.
Because of the
okay?
Republican
Let's be clear
shutdown.
about that.
Right, because they did not want to negotiate. And basically, they take pride in taking away subsidies for the health care of millions of Americans that access the Obamacare. But just because it's called Obamacare, they want to take it down. And that's the purpose and the aim of the Trump administration since the first administration. They want to get rid of it with no plan to replace it. So this, and then, you know, after, you know, finally 7 of them just, you know,
conceded.
But doesn't he have like some pharmacy or something he's going to do now, Trump X or something like that? I don't know. I saw a story that he's trying to get Manjaro to do through there.
Yeah.
He knows nothing. He should be taking Manjaro. That's
He is.
there.
He is.
But well, it's not working for him. So you know what? But you know what really frustrates me, people? When the people that we fight to elect start negotiating against us. That's what pisses me off, right? Democrats caving on healthcare subsidies isn't compromise. It's freaking surrender. It really is what we did. I take care of dogs. The Democrats really just went on their back and gave them belly. That's basically what they did, all right? Millions of families are one illness away, one, from bankruptcy. One, okay? And we're supposed to celebrate a freaking deal? I'm not celebrating anything. The Dems folded. They caved, all right? If they would have waited longer, all right, they would have had to give in.
Well, not all of the Dems. I'm just going to say those 7 Dems that did that. So I've gotten my email notice from the exchanges, and I haven't opened it because it says your premium is definitely going to be higher. And I just didn't even want to look at it.
It's double.
Because mine probably will be quadruple because of how everything works out in that. So I haven't opened it yet just because I didn't want to look at it. But John Fetterman, you know, I watch Bill Maher, and I think that he has some pretty hot takes on things, and I generally agree with him on a lot of things. He was touting John Fetterman, one of the defectors, as being the next best thing in the Democratic Party, almost maybe could be the next presidential candidate for the Democratic Party. Let me tell you, John Fetterman, I watched you on The View explaining why you did this and saying that you just wanted to get food back for all the people who are on losing their Schnapp benefits. You never one time said it's because of Donald Trump. Okay, Schnapp benefits did not have to go defunct after during the shutdown because Donald Trump could approve that big pot of money that we have sitting there in case of such a situation. Yeah. So you did that. You knew that there was all of this momentum based on what happened with the election. Everybody in our party was, I shouldn't say our party because I'm an independent, but everybody in the Democratic Party was ready to hold on to this and really show that it's Donald Trump, not even the Republicans, because the Republicans now are doing exactly what Donald Trump wants. Whatever they tell them to do, they're going to do. And they're going against their own Republican constituents because the Obamacare subsidies are popular. The majority of Democrats, independents, and Republicans want them. So you're actively going against your Republican constituency just to do what this orange tyrant is doing. And another thing with John Fetterman, you and your stupid hoodie and basketball shorts, because you want to seem like you're down with the people. I know this is a rant and a little bit off topic, but I really need to speak to this asshole, because that is a brand in the same way that Donald Trump's hair and his orange makeup is a brand. You're trying to brand yourself as you're with the people, and you voted against all of the people. All right. And so you don't even want to put, you can't even be bothered to put on a shirt in one of the most important positions in the American government. Man, F you.
We're going to learn way more about these backroom deals and things that happen between, because I think it's
Release the Epstein files.
It's so vulgar. All of it's just so vulgar.
But Argentina's okay.
Right.
He can't even play basketball. He sucks at it.
I'm Julio Capó, and let's queer up the USA view. HRC ends ties with weapons makers after LGBTQ plus activist pressure. The Human Rights Campaign has cut financial ties with defense contractors Northrop Grumman and RTX, formerly Raytheon, following a 2-year campaign led by queer and trans activists. According to a joint statement from the Gender Liberation Movement and Adala Justice Project, groups like ACT UP New York, Writers Against the War on Gaza, and former HRC employees organized the effort. It said, quote, "These are tools of state-sanctioned destruction and death, not a human rights or equality," end quote. Rand J., a queer Palestinian organizer with Adala, called the decision a huge win, saying, quote, "We won't allow our history, identities, and struggles as queer people to be commodified to buttress institutions upholding the genocidal war machine," end quote. HRC confirmed to them, the publication them, that it no longer has sponsorships with either company. Activists continue to call on HRC and other LGBTQ plus organizations to divest from weapons manufacturers permanently and to publicly call for an immediate arms embargo on Israel. I find there's so much there's a lot of beauty in this story, which is such an odd thing to say about things that are talking about weapons and war, and the support of them, because it's to me, it's solidarity. What the story is largely about is a story about solidarity and the remembering the kind of queer and radical origins of our movement, which is largely to imagine, right, that violence against anyone is violence against all of us, right? To think about the very notion of like Black feminist and lesbian thought, that none of us are free until all of us are free. And this is very much a story about that, right? Like that is that to imagine any form of violence that could happen to any one of us as being okay because it's happening over there is not okay, right? That is that we have to understand solidarity movements. And I think this is really what this is calling for. And one of the, the HRC has a really checkered history, and that is it's
a nice way to put it.
That's right, thank you. Especially anti-trans, right? And being a very white organization that largely supported white women and men, pushing HRC further to inclusivity and progress, and is important to do. We have to hold them accountable just the same. And it sounds like this is a story suggesting some of that kind of more radical politics.
It also talked to me about activism. And how important it is in our community to have people that are willing to dig and to find out, because we've done it through the AIDS crisis. And we found who were our allies and our foes. And we need to keep doing this in a very impactful way. This is you going to the root of the problem. The people that are making guns and selling them to no matter who, no matter we call ourselves you might be selling it to the Taliban for all I'm concerned, and it's just like, is that better? Is that more valid? So I think this is important that we have this, that with our community we have them. I think the AIDS crisis gave us that. We learned that from ACT UP and people like them, that we need to get involved and we need to make our voice heard.
Well, and this is also about accountability, I think. After years of activists demanding that the Human Rights Campaign stop taking money from defense contractors, they're finally saying no more, because you can't advocate for peace and equality with one hand and cash checks from the war machine with the other.
Well said.
You just can't.
Well said.
You know.
Well,
you can.
I'm always torn when it comes to these things, because on one hand, as long as you're not promoting that organization, which I guess that's what the sponsorships are, is that in some way that you're promoting them, then I agree with that. If they're just writing you a check or whatever, you know, I'd rather your dirty money come to me so I can do something good with it, as long as I'm not promoting you, because, you know, we are hurting for...
And we need the money.
Exactly. Like, you know, and if you go down, like, so many of these corporations, like, all go to, like, 5 parent companies, you know, like with Disney and with, MTV or Viacom or something. And if you track the money far enough down the line, you can always track it back to somebody who's doing something that's terrible, right? And then we'd be having to like give back money to everything, you know? So I do think it's a fine line between like what you're able to take, because maybe there are some people who are part of that company that maybe their primary thing is the war machine, but maybe they do have a component of their company that is like trying to give back to the community or trying to help. And in that way,
that money would work.
You can like take it without promoting it. And you can say, look, we can take your money and we can do certain things, but we can't promote what your cause is, and see if you can work out something like that. Maybe they'll agree to it. If I'm running for an office, if I'm running for senator and Chick-fil-A wants to sponsor me, give me the money. I'm not going to promote you. I might even open a food truck called Side Chick on Sundays across the street.
No.
But
are you gonna be on camera eating a Chick-fil-A to promote?
No. Like I said, I'm not.
Take the money.
There's a difference between just taking money if somebody's donating to you.
Yeah, but you also
and
can't
if you're
just put like
promoting.
a rainbow sticker on like a war machine and be like, this is now like okay, because
But
like,
that's
they
what
gave
I'm
us
saying.
money.
I didn't say to do that.
No,
I
you
said the
didn't.
opposite of that.
Right.
Like, you know, we can take money, but we cannot promote you. So if you're willing,
I think my soul would die. You know, I mean, it's like, again, these are questions that like you just think in an alternate, not an alternate universe, right? If Trump right now said, Julio Capo Jr., I got a position for you, right? But now you've got to claim being a Republican, and this is what it is. Like, your inside dies, but you're making millions.
I think
right?
I just died now.
well,
Like, am I alive?
But look, a lot of these corporations are money laundering in some way, and so they have to donate to whatever organizations in order to clean their money.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, well, why don't we give them to the organizations that hate us, or we could take some of it too. So
We'll wash
I'm not
their money.
saying like, you know, it's a delicate subject, and you
you're
got to
right.
think about it.
I'm Faye Watt, and let's queer up business. Grindr helps deliver over 1 million HIV self-test kits, breaking barriers in LGBTQ plus health. Grindr is marking a major milestone in HIV prevention. The popular LGBTQ plus dating app has now helped distribute more than 1 million HIV self-test kits, thanks to its partnership with the program Together, Take Me Home. Nearly half of those kits were ordered directly through the app. According to Mohan Sundaraj, managing director of Grindr for Equality, 1 in 4 of those orders came from first-time testers. He said, quote, reaching this milestone is proof that digital access can close real-world health gaps and help challenge that stigma and discrimination that still surrounds sexual health, especially for the LGBTQ plus community, end quote. With more than 15 million users worldwide, Sundaraj says Grindr's platform can deliver not only connection, but life-saving information and tools. Jen Hecht, co-founder of Building Healthy Online Communities, which created Together Take Me Home, called the achievement a sign of progress amid political uncertainty over HIV funding. You can order a free self-test kit at together.takemehome.org. Now, this one makes my heart smile. Give me back my Grindr account. So, Grindr is helping deliver over 1 million HIV self-test kits, and that's groundbreaking, all right? 1 in 4 first-time testers. I mean, that right there solidifies this story for me. The fact that maybe someone might be afraid to go to Broward House and go get tested out, right? But they feel safe enough to go on their Grindr app and order this kit to do it in the privacy of their own home, right? Yeah. I would think that, you know, once they get the results, they would send them to somewhere locally where they can continue, maybe get treatment, get informed, get educated on what to do next, right? You know, I mean, this is fantastic.
It opens up the door for them, you know, and it's really important. That digital part, we're thinking of doing something to reach out digitally with Grindr and that, as far as like geo-fencing, I think it's called, to you know, get our message out that we are offering this testing and that. So it's a big thing.
Prevention 305 does it. I see it. I've seen it on Grindr. So they, you know, they reach person to person, and you know, just if you want to, you know, get. I'm all for that, and I you know, I congratulate Grindr. I just hope they're doing this in the developing world, that they're doing it just not here in the U.S. where we have plenty of options, and you know, you guys are one of them, and we appreciate it, and everybody here can walk to any, you know, van and get tested anytime outside the bars. But in you know, in Latin America, in Africa, in Southeast Asia, there is not such a
and in the middle of America also.
Yeah,
it's not available
South, in the U.S. South.
People have no idea about it.
In fact, you go to rural communities, it's not the same, Dino. Like here, you can go to Broward House, you can go to Can Community, you can go to Mayfair Medical. I can go on and on the different places that you can go.
Everybody does it. Everybody does it. But you know, I remember, you know, when I was back, you know, where I grew up. I mean, just the thought about going to get tested for HIV, and I was going through medical school, and I was just like, I was terrified. Terrified. You had to wait 2 weeks to get a result.
Back then. But people don't even want to go into Walgreens or CVS and pick it up. They're afraid. So that's why you say that you know, privacy.
And it's expensive, and it's also really pricey.
I love it. Every time I block somebody on Grindr, that's part of the menu that comes up under settings for free HIV kit. And I smile every time because I'm the target for this. When I first came out, no, seriously, like when I get tested normally now with, you know, whenever I have my regular battery of blood tests that I take, you know, but with the having it sent to your house, and I've had it sent to my house before, is because, as you were saying, in more rural communities, or even not in rural communities, maybe it's a community that just everybody knows everybody. Like when you go in to some kind of clinic and they know your parents, they know your family, it's like you just don't want to go ask for an HIV test because you may not even be out. And if you're asking for an HIV test, they're like, oh, so he's obviously
so you're gay.
You know what I mean? So there's a lot of privacy issues with that. And I really love, like, when I got my first test kit sent home, it was just like, I can do this on my own without anybody knowing until I am ready. If, you know, whatever happens. And, you know, I probably didn't even have sex for those 6 months, but I was like, let me just, like, you know, you go through all of those things in your mind of like, what would my life be like, you know? And I'm not ready for anybody to know about this until I know it for myself, and I have a few days, or like, you know, I don't have to look for it. So thank you very much, Grindr. And this isn't, it's looking like almost it's something new, but it's not, because I've been seeing it for years on Grindr. So thank you very much. And what a better place, like, to do it than on Grindr, where everybody's up.
Where you're on anyway, right? You know, and the beautiful thing that when it comes to your home, you won't even know that it's a kit. It comes in a very plain white box that doesn't even say anything to do with nothing that you would think medical stuff is in there.
It's also, to me, what sex positivity looks like, right? Like that is like and Grindr is such a testament to that. That is like to live your life openly and authentically, and to, you know, knowledge of your status, for example, empowers you. And like there's ways that and it also has made me think, you know, Grindr has taken lots of steps for racial discrimination, ethnic discrimination on the app, you know, anti-trans thing. Like it could always do more, and I hope it does more. But it is thinking largely about the community that it serves, and that's an important. If you know, we're paying your bills, so you got to give us something back.
And I think it's also, I mean, I hope there is more of a thought behind this, that there is linked to service, that because some people will test positive, and
that's the one thing that worries me about
this is the responsible way to do it. You have to link these people to service, or at least guide them.
Well, because according to them, they do connect you with someone locally to help you, you know, continue with the process.
Oh, that's good to know.
And then just access, you know, medical care soon, because this is crucial, people, that you access medical care as soon as you, or shortly after you get diagnosed, because, you know, the impact years
and, you know,
later.
and again, and for others, be proud. I'm having sex.
Right.
Be proud that you're having sex, that somebody wants to stick it to you. You know what I mean? So I mean, like, hey, protect yourself and others. Why not? Always know your status.
It's one of the reasons why I don't grumble as much with their ridiculously high membership prices every month, because they're able to at least give up. I do. You know, look, I got to get out of 10 square miles of living in Homestead, all right?
That part. LGBTQ 1 Minute News. Let's queer up entertainment. Lesbians take the lead. 6 shows spotlighting the L in LGBTQ+. We love the full rainbow of sapphic and lesbian characters. I do, especially. And we live for our bisexual gals, our non-binary sapphics, our queer WLWs, our trans lesies, and everyone in between. But sometimes you just want to see the L in LGBTQ+. So thankfully, there's plenty of amazing les representation lighting up our screens right now. Check out Pluribus on Apple TV Plus, or The Beast in Me on Netflix. How about Harlem on Prime Video, or Batwoman on HBO Max? One Mississippi on Prime Video, and Sugar Rush on the Internet Archive. 6 stories, all heart, all queer joy. Well, baby, you had me at Batman, at Batwoman, right? So I want to see Batwoman and Supergirl have sex.
Oh. Poison Ivy. Have you ever seen the Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn?
Oh, yes.
Those
are.
Yeah, I've seen that. Fan fiction.
Why are you looking at me with that face?
I had to look up all of those little titles at the beginning, trans, lesi, and sapphic something there, you know, just to make sure I understood what that, all of those...
all the acronyms were?
Yeah, because I wasn't as familiar with that. But I do support the lesbians, and Faye, you will always be the biggest L that I know.
That was funny, though. A little funny. That was funny. That was
Somebody cue a laugh.
I was like, will someone say something? As we all,
that's the 1 minute.
We pretend we froze on the stream.
You know, you give these boys a lesbian story, and this is what happened.
LGBTQ 1 Minute News. Let's queer up entertainment. Alan Cumming welcomes reality royalty to The Traitors Season 4. Get ready for deceit, drama, and dazzling competition. Legendary host Alan Cumming returns for Season 4 of the Emmy-winning The Traitors, promising an exciting cast. Joining the game are icons across reality TV and pop culture, from RuPaul's Drag Race star Monet Exchange and Olympians Johnny Weir and Tara Lipinski to Real Housewives legends Lisa Rinna, Dorinda Medley, and Portia Williams. Expect fierce alliances, ruthless betrayals, and fabulous chaos when The Traitors premieres Thursday, January 8th, 2026, exclusively on Peacock. I have never watched the show, but I keep hearing all these great things about it, and how Alan Cumming is just kind of his own vibe. But it must be traitorous and treacherous, and RuPaul is in there, so it's like everything a gay wants. So I think I'm going to tune in. How about you guys?
I love Alan Cummings. I love whatever he wears on Traitors is always incredible. Like whoever designs him is just just super incredible. You know, Bob the Drag Queen was on last season, and I really thought that he was going to go all the way, and they fucking cut him down like really early. I think that Lisa Rinna is going to win this one. You heard it from me. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, I'm excited to see Monet Exchange.
Me too.
I don't know, between Monet Exchange and Johnny Weir, who's gonna be my favorite? But Johnny Weir is a force to be reckoned with.
He's weird. And he wins a lot of stuff. So
he's smart.
I mean, he's
really
good at
smart.
what he does.
Yeah.
Whatever that is that he does.
Yeah.
Right.
And I saw a promo for it, and I'm intrigued to watch it also.
It's a great show. I felt so lucky. I got to interview Alan Cumming 3 years ago for Miami Book Fair, and he is so smart, so charming, so witty. And it all comes across in this show. The show is perfect for him. This is he's such a good host, and it's just it is a vibe. I love the way you put it, because if you haven't seen it, check it out. It's so engaging.
You're living in a house with a bunch of other people, and 2 people are already traitors, and you don't know who it is, okay? And they're all vying to get everybody out for a shit ton of money for some charity. So. It's super interesting though, and they beat RuPaul's Drag Race out of an Emmy. I don't know how many times, and they were winning 7 or 8 times, and it was the first time to knock them out. So must be good.
Hashtag Shady Johnny Weir.
LGBTQ 1 Minute News. Let's queer up entertainment. Noah Schnapp says will sexuality take center stage in final Stranger Things season. Stranger Things star Noah Schnapp says Will Spires' sexuality will be a major plot point in the show's 5th and final season. Speaking to British GQ, Schnapp shared, quote, Will's sexuality will come up again in the final season as a major plot point, end of quote. Schnapp also added that the show taught him to accept his own sexuality. Season 5 will roll out in 3 parts. Volume 1 will premiere on November 26th, Volume 2 on December 25th, and the finale episode will come on December 31st. I have to confess I never watched Stranger Things, but I think it's an important thing that a kid, this is a group of kids. I know that much, and the show is very popular. It's been very popular for years, and that a kid in this age group is coming out and is showing, it's a very popular series. So I'm glad that they're showing that and making it part of the story. And he's a gay man now, or a teenager now.
Yeah, I hate watching shows about kids. I can't stand it. Yet Stranger Things has such great writing that it sucks you in. It really does. Okay. That being said, bring it back already. How old are the kids? Like 30? Because I forgot already what happened. It's been so long.
That's what happens to me. I saw the first 2 seasons, and I love the first 2 seasons, and I haven't caught up. But I have to say, the storyline, I'm going to catch up.
I did too. I watched the first couple.
How many are there now?
5? It's 5.
5 and a Broadway show that I saw when I was in New York.
That's right. There's a Broadway show. I went to a haunted house themed.
Millie Bobby Brown just got married. And she adopted a child. So it's supposed to tell you how.
She was 11, wasn't she?
Girl, we're old. We're old, girl. We're old.
All I want to say.
He's like, she was 11.
I just want to say, snap out of it. And also, 11, you could carry a tissue with you because you know when it's coming. You don't have to get all the way down to your lip. So, that's the only thing I
It's her thing. It's her thing.
Yeah.
LGBTQ 1-minute news. Let's queer up South Florida and Florida. Florida police caught lying about deadly chase outside of Ybor City gay bar. In Tampa, shocking new evidence reveals that law enforcement officials misled the public about a car chase that ended in tragedy outside a popular gay bar last weekend. A Florida Highway Patrol cruiser pursued a Toyota Camry on Interstate 275 before attempting a high-risk PIT maneuver. Police claim the maneuver happened before Nebraska Avenue and that the chase was called off before reaching Ybor City's busy 7th Avenue. But video from WTSP's news drone and police helicopter recordings tell a different story, showing troopers continued the chase into the heart of the nightlife district, ending just seconds before the car slammed into the outdoor seating area of Bradley's on 7th. 5 people were killed and 13 were injured. The driver, 22-year-old Silas Sampson, now faces 8 felony charges, including 4 counts of vehicular homicide. Goodness, this is such a sad story, but also this is another layer to this. I'm always really nervous and anxious just in general as a person, but of over surveillance and all these things that are, you can't do anything without the world knowing and being, and there's moments like this, just like body cams, for example, on police that I'm so grateful for. That is to hold law enforcement accountable and to have a kind of, we need more of this. And these, in this case, it wasn't, this was a news station that carried this and others, but fortunate for them that we were able to tell a different part of the story that had been misrepresented to us.
Yeah.
So
well, the cops could lie, but the video doesn't.
But the video doesn't.
And that's that.
Right.
And the reality is that 5 people are no
5
longer.
people.
5 people went out
tragic.
with their friends like we all do on Wilton Drive all the time, sitting outside talking shit, and all of a sudden their lives ended.
No, it's
soon.
such a tragedy.
There are people that are still in ICU that are still recuperating from their injuries. We had Karen Kelly sitting here on Monday.
I love her.
And she is from SCR and from other organizations. She was at Stone. She used to be part of Stonewall.
I love her so
She's an
much.
amazing human. I really, really do like her. And she has 2 friends right now, 2 friends of hers that they were 2 family members of each other that are still in critical condition. And, that's just super sad, If law enforcement would have done their job sooner, that car would have never made it into Ybor City.
And it happened all the time. It happens here too. They run the red light and, just pursuing some. I'm not saying that they don't have to, but they get to be a point where you need to just take
pull
your
back.
losses.
Yeah.
Just pull back. I mean,
And that's what they said they did, right? They said, okay, no, then we just let them go, right? Which they didn't. You know, usual protocol is if you can't get them to a certain point to steer them away from where there's more people, you stop the chase. That's it. You know,
I just hope the truth comes out, whatever it is. They're still investigating. We can obviously see some things going on the video, but you know, whatever the truth is, let it come out and let those who are responsible be prosecuted for it.
Yeah.
LGBTQ 1 Minute News. Let's queer up faith. Dallas church paints rainbow steps in defiance of Texas ban. In Dallas, the Oak Lawn United Methodist Church has transformed its front steps into a rainbow, a bold act of what Pastor Reverend Rachel Griffin Allison calls sacred resistance. The project began on October 21st and ended on November 1st, with a consecration ceremony held on November 2nd. The Reverend said, quote, "This is more than paint on steps. It's been kind of a love letter to our community," end quote. Joined by her wife, filmmaker Cheryl Griffin Allison, the pastor says the colors are signs of hope that people need when some powers are trying to erase the community. And I love this. Thank you so much for doing this. You know, Texas is just as hard to be as Florida is for LGBTQ plus, you know, and we're being erased at every corner from our crosswalks to our LGBTQ plus history. And, you know, we can't forget that. So stories like this give me a smile because there's hope and there's joy and there's still people out there who have our backs.
I love that it's in Dallas, you know, this in Texas, that fight is still there.
Yeah, I love that. And it's I mean, in addition, it's just like beautiful art. Like it just looks really stunning.
Vibrant.
Yeah.
And it's a biblical symbol as well. It's a promise to not destroy the earth and to you know, have compassion and mercy.
And it comes from a church. I mean, this is a great way to show solidarity with the community.
Yes.
So thank the Reverend.
Lesbians.
Yeah,
there you go.
The best.
Yes, truthfully.
As a nonprofit LGBTQ media organization, we would like to thank our viewers for supporting our mission to tell the stories of the queer community. We'd also like to thank the generous support of Jets Pizza. Jets is the LGBTQ community's most popular pizza in South Florida.
Take a look around these streets. Do you really think we woke up one day and said, yeah, the world needs more pizza? Nah, just a better one. Better, like the world's best pizza, Jet's Detroit-style pizza. Hand-pressed and baked to the thickest, crispiest crunch. You're welcome. Now visit jetspizza.com and save. Click on hot deals for special offers in your area. Jets, better because it has to be.
These are today's headlines from Queer News Tonight, and our anchors represent the best of our LGBTQ family. If our community is important to you, share this news with your friends and family. Don't forget to join the conversation on your favorite streaming platform.
Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ digital television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines.
We need your support. If our community is to grow and then thrive, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world.
This is the only place in the world that tells these types of LGBTQ plus stories in motion and in sound. That is the passion of Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, and Queer News Tonight.
I'm your anchor, Faye. What? And I thank you for joining us on behalf of my fellow LGBTQ anchors here at Queer News Tonight. Julian Alterman, Trinidadi, Dino Mosquera, and of course, the adorable Julio Capo Jr. that didn't get blown away by the bad Melissa hurricane. We will see you daily at 8 p.m. To our LGBTQ plus world, we wish you a good night.
Night.
Night.